Many of you will want to create your own tools for the class. So if you don't want to purchase an extra set of sculpting tools for financial reasons, or if you just want to explore and experiment making your own, the easiest way is to save old paintbrush handles, bamboo chopsticks, and I found these stirring rods from the Auto Body Paint store. They actually handed out some nice bamboo ones, which are pretty strong. So the thing about wood is whichever way the grain runs, the grain usually runs the length of the shaft, that the ends can get frayed. And so these wooden tools for clay, if they're soft wood, then they're gonna get chipped at the end. So bamboo's typically pretty hard. The handles you get with paintbrushes that you munch up and throw away tends to be softwood, nothing great. But these make good shapes. So if you want to do stamps and press, I save a lot of handles and tools and materials to reuse as much as possible. So for class, I think to have a little spatula like scoop at the end of this bamboo chopstick, if you could see that, pretty good. There we go, yeah. And then on the other end, I did a little scoop. So that way you can scrape and carve inside there. And then with the bigger one, did something very similar. Sanded the end a little bit so it's a tip, and then did like a little curved bevel on the sides. And if you ask your dentist, hopefully you all have a dentist, and dentists are usually pretty cool about doing this. You can ask them for their old dental tools. And so these are all old broken dental tools. And sometimes the ends are actually quite usable, and these are really high quality handles they'll usually have them in autoclave bags. And I think motorcycle mechanics and other people also hit up their dentist for these broken old tools. But if you ask, you never know, you might get a whole bunch. So I used to give these out to students, but my dentist got cheap and stopped giving me her old dental tools, so now I have these. And for these ones, you'll have to use the grinding wheel. So we'll have to get the grinding wheel on the Dremel and grind into the shape that we want, and get like a scoop at the end. But generally speaking, if it's just a sharp pointed busted end, it's not as useful as if you do some sort of flat kind of spoon raking action. The other way is to take old pottery tools, and these work really well. And what I do with the old pottery tools is I take the grinding wheel and the disc and I create little rake marks. So just grind these in with the grinding wheel. So you could take the carbide disc with your Dremel, and you can just kind of pop those little zip, zip, zip teeth on there, and that gives you a good grinding surface. So the most straightforward way to do this is to take your popsicle stick and a razor knife and simply do some whittling. So any hardwood should work. I just wouldn't do too much I wouldn't bother too much with a softwood. And just kind of carve a variety of shapes. So like I showed the other one, like a little spooning or kind of indentation in there is helpful. There we go. And always push away from yourself. And then at the end here, you see it's kind of flat from the other side. So maybe coming from the other end, I'm going to carve down. There we go. And once you start getting close, or you can kind of experiment with this once you have the shape you want. See, that just came right off. It's a little too soft, so I have to be careful. I should have switched over maybe sooner to my sanding tool. And we're going to use a variety of shapes in class, so you can kind of play around with what works. So once I have that done, I'll take the Dremel. This is the little USB, the least expensive, decent Dremel I could find. It's a little Hardell. It's not a Dremel technically, I guess. It's a rotary tool. And you should get a pack of wheels on there. And we turn that on and just kind of gently So whichever way the disc rotates, you want to go, let that wheel move forward on there. And it's going to get a little dust cloud, so make sure you do this in a well-ventilated area or outside. So back and forth there a little bit. And then the other side. And I'm basically just getting rid of any lumps or uneven cuts I made with the razor knife. And turn it up just a little bit more. There we go. Wear a dust mask, wear your eye protection. You all got those old COVID masks laying around, so don't inhale this stuff. Sawdust is not good for you. So one end, want like a little chisel edge, and then the other end, and then makes like a little pointed V, like the nose of a battleship or something. And then across the top of this is still round. So and when you get to the very point, just kind of be aware. There we go. And then the flat end over here, I want to get that kind of, you could do like a spoon shape if you want. So just kind of go in one side. And these little rotary tools, or if you get a Dremel, I think everyone should get at least one Dremel for themselves, because you can do dang near anything you need a power tool for, you can do with a Dremel, especially if you're working on a small scale. So I'm kind of going in like a little hourglass shape here, a little higher. One side and then go the other. And then I'm going to start from each of these ends here and just kind of work it until I'm happy with the shape I get. And you should be able to get these little bamboo chopsticks for free. Or next time you do take out, ask for some extra chopsticks. Try and find a place that has a good bamboo in, of course. So this one, I'm not going to get it sharp yet. I'm going to leave that little rounded end on there. And trying to just kind of give it a little spooning end for one side. It's coming along nicely. A little thinner, and you'll go through a couple of these, I'm sure, when you've gone too far. And then I can kind of get rid of some sharp edges if I want that to be less aggressive. There you go. Now I get a little, I can push or I can pull the fat end, and the other end I can get in there, I can kind of carve the shape that I want. So bamboo stick, it also has the luxury of being nice and long, so while you're working you can rest it on something. You actually have more control. The reason you see paintbrushes are long is the longer the handle, actually the more control you have. So you can rest this on a surface and get in there and do the eye. See that if I'm moving way back here, the longer the handle, the end's moving at a smaller range as I move the end. So that's why you see really nice paintbrushes have super long handles. So for the cutting wheel, let me take this off, which I have one already set up on my big Dremel. Here's my big jeweler's Dremel. That's got an extension, and there it is over there. So I have it on a little post. Pipe fittings, again, it's our friend. And what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to take one of these dental tools and I'm going to grind where it broke off at the end here. I'm going to round that off and see if I can get like a little flat end on there. Old butter knives, old spoons as well. Surprisingly, there's a lot of variety of how strong this one was. Crazy strong. I was shocked at how strong this spoon was. I started grinding it in. I was like, oh, that's gonna take a while. So I kind of stopped doing that. But for this little, one of these dental tools, it should be fine. Actually, this one's a little bit longer. So for this one, I want to get like a flatter side, like hockey stick shape for this. So I'll turn that on. might be a little loud. And just shape it and experiment and play. It gets warm, it gets hot. Okay, so old broken dental tools or whatever other metal, go to a thrift store or just get some old metal, any metal utensils really. Just be careful, you know, what kind of materials you're working with. Make sure you're really, this is part of the class. I do have my visor on, I have my mask on. My voice is a little muffled. And just these two tools alone should get you pretty far.